President and the First Lady paying their respects, saying their final farewell to the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. As you could hear, some shouting in the background there outside of the Supreme Court, where many have gathered to also publicly say their final farewell.
The fastest you will ever see Trump move is him turning and leaving after being confronted with chants of vote him out while visiting RBG's casket. This is a guy who took all day to make it down a ramp, and yet when he's faced with even the slightest amount of dissent, suddenly he manages to turn on a dime and escape. Why? Because he is too weak to face even an ounce of criticism. And this isn't the first time that Trump faced a barrage of boos as soon as he left the protective bubble of his own rallies. He was slammed with boos at the World Series. And so to compensate, he showed up at a UFC fight, because surely he wouldn't get booed there. Okay, apparently he can. The fact is that there is a reason that Trump never shows up outside of the controlled environment where only the people in attendance are his most fawning supporters, and that is because he is incapable of facing dissent. He is not capable of being confronted with any type of criticism because, again, he is too weak to handle it. And bear in mind, the reception Trump got while standing before RBG's casket wasn't unsurprising. Ruth Bader Ginsburg's dying wish was that whoever wins on November 3rd would be able to choose her successor. And yet that didn't stop Trump and McConnell, within literal hours of her death, from announcing that they're already moving forward on filling the vacancy, and to do so before the election. So not only is he discarding her final request, but he's actually doing so to entrench his own power. Trump is so ham-handed that he admitted in broad daylight that the reason he wants to fill that vacancy on the court and get a 6-3 conservative majority is because he plans to cry foul at the very existence of mail-in ballots, and so he'll litigate the results up to the Supreme Court, where he thinks he can just get his appointees to declare him the winner. Because don't forget, everything he does is to help his political future.
But in terms of time, we go to January 20th. But I think it's better if you go before the election, because I think this scam that the Democrats are pulling, it's a scam. The scam will be before the United States Supreme Court. And I think having a 4-4 situation is not a good situation. If you get that, I don't know that you'd get that. I think it should be 8-0 or 9-0. But just in case it would be more political than it should be, I think it's very important to have a ninth justice.
What he's not considering is that states will certify their own election results, and no matter how hard he tries, he does not control what happens in the states, and the states will count their votes. It doesn't matter if Trump declares himself the winner with 1% of the votes cast, because despite his best efforts, he doesn't rule by fiat and he's not a king. But with that said, we have a job to do, and it's to make sure that any of Trump's efforts to seize on a close election fall flat. And we do that by voting in such large numbers that the results are beyond doubt, that they are unambiguous, that they make beyond clear what the will of the American people is. This election isn't just about winning by 0.1%, it's about a complete and total repudiation of Donald Trump and everything that he represents. While you're here, please subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I take a deeper dive into the week's biggest stories and interview major players in the world of politics, like Kamala Harris, Adam Schiff, Katie Porter, Nancy Pelosi, Cory Booker, Eric Swalwell, and many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.